Welcome back to Ales and Fails Miniatures. A couple of you guys went and commented that you would actually like to see a miniature collection tour, so I thought that's what we would do for you guys today. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first place we will start is actually going to be over here, which you guys don't ever get to see on camera. This is usually where, right after getting a video done, I just put the miniatures before they get placed in their final resting place, basically the unorganized ones. So those are all just my unorganized ones from previous videos, probably the last 2 videos. And then over here, I've got all of my different storms, basically. My living spell, all different ones. The cloud kill. And then I got the lightning bolts. And then these are just some random older miniatures that I have. But this is how I actually organize my humanoids, because I have way too many of them to try to take up shelf room at this point. So I just label them with what is in there. And as you can see, we have our Durgar and dwarves, my grung, and then back here I have my gnomes. In the middle here is all of my goblins, and to the left of them is the kobolds. So I've been getting to the point where I'm kind of running out of room and need to reorganize them. Same with, I haven't actually labeled the humanoids yet. These are all just your basic humans, non-spellcasters. So your archers, your barbarians, basically any normal humanoid, even just your normal villagers and bards. So and then the next bit here, again, I haven't labeled it yet because I ran out of room in the previous drawer, but these are all my Goliaths. Don't have as many of these as I do some of the other ones, but there is some really nice ones in there. And then down here we have, these are the humanoids that I have that are a little bit different than just humans. These are your guards, Goliaths, which again, I just moved over, so they're no longer in there. But then your elves, your drows, tieflings, and other Asharis and Genassis. Then I also have like the hags in here, along with some of other just smaller miniatures. And then all my guards are over here on the left. And these are all my spellcasters. So I know it's a little bit jumbled in there right now. I do want to go through and actually reorganize all this. I just have not had the time recently to do so yet. Then this one is your bestial humans, which is orcs, hobgoblins, ogres, gnolls, and bugbears. So in the front here, we have all of the bugbears. And then we have your hobgoblins, your gnolls. And then over here on the left is all of your orcs. And then the very back there, I have some ogres as well. And then next door down, this is also other humanoids, which is basically just your aberrations, monstrosities, celestials, constructs, fae, and fiends. So constructs here in the middle, and some ones that I'm not quite sure where I should put them. Again, one that I'm just not quite sure where I want to put it. But you have different humanoids here. And all my tieflings and devils there. Well, some of the devils. And then some celestials. The Icewind Dale premium figure. The cold. I apologize. The cold crone. And then over here you have all of your fae. And up in the front here is all the Githyankies. So. And then next thing over here is my skeletons, all different types. I've got horse skeletons, minotaur skeletons, skeletal riders, the ones that we even painted ourselves, and just all different types of skeletons. I even have the warband set, which comes with many different skeletons, such as a lizard folk, a tiefling. I have a couple of gnomes, so just really cool different sets of skeletons there. Then this is all the other undeads, such as all my zombies. And then I have the ghouls and ghasts, all my ghosts, mummies, and then random ones like vampires and things of those sorts over there. And then here is another animal humanoids. So this is my tabaxis are here, my minotaurs, bear people back there in the back, lion and tiger people, my hippopotamus people, elephant people up next to that, penguin people even, and then all my were-rats, along with some of these centaurs. And I even have one of these war boar people, and then my Aarakocra's up here in the front. So, okay. And then, obviously, you can see there's a couple miniatures up here. These are ones that just don't quite fit or don't have a place, like these more terrain style pieces. Don't really have a place for them yet. And then I have the giant space hamster and one of the celestial bears in the back. And then two of my dragon style people that just are too big for these drawers, but you can always just put them on top like that. Same thing with up here, these goblins riding the wargs just don't quite fit inside the drawers, so I put them up above them. And so then the next drawer here we have is fish folk. So these are all your different shahagins. Let's see. Yeah, you have shahagins, basically any different type of fish folk, such as the kuatoa, the shahagins, anything that's considered a fish folk, I keep in here. And there's a bunch of different varieties out right now. They're all absolutely amazing, and I'm very excited that I finally have this many fish folk for running almost anything I want. I even have ones that will ride on seahorses. They have different saddles and different bases that you can pull on and off of them from, I believe, Seas and Shores. So those are really cool set there. Next one is we have Reptile. And again, I moved the Dragonborn out of this one because I ran out of room, but this is just the Yuan-ti, the Turtle, Frog folk, and Lizard folk. So I have all my Turtles back here. Then I have my Yuan-tis are all this area in here. And then my Frog people up front, and Lizard folk in the back there. And I even have some Fire Salamanders in there along with them. And again, all their mounts that go along with that as well. So, and the last one here, I've split it between Dragonborn and my Mind Flayers. So all my Mind Flayers or Mind Flayer-like creatures are over there on the right. And then on the left, we have all of my Dragonborns or Dragonborn Abominations and Half-Dragons. Anything that fits under the Dragon Kin, basically, I keep in there. All right, and then moving away from the actual bins here, this is my Spelljammer, basically. So all of my ships, all of my things from the Astral Sea, such as the smaller version of the Astral Dreadnought and the smaller version of the Gold and Red Dragons. You have all of your crazy creatures and ships, even all the smaller scale ships, so you can run a full space battle. And yeah, some of the cooler ones over here, like the Void Scaver. Those are really cool. I like those. And I really, again, I like that they made a smaller version of the Astral Dreadnought. And obviously your Star Anglers and your smaller version of the Solar Dragon back there. And the Mimic Asteroid. Just a lot of really cool miniatures that they came out with for the Astral Sea, which I am really glad they did, because it's a really nice set there. And that's kind of a funny one as well. This is the giant gelatinous cube. So it's supposed to be, I mean, if this is the size of a very large ship, it's a huge gelatinous cube. So that's a pretty cool one as well. And then moving on from the Astral Sea, we move down here to, these are all my animal folk, or just animals, really. So I have basically all my were stuff over, or not were stuff, I apologize, the dire wolves over here, and then all normal sized wolves and bugs and rats in trench coats and swarms of rats and swarms of bats and swarms of fish. And I mean, just all the different fish and animals and sloths and camels and any type of animal. And the reason why this area is missing is because we actually took all of the ones that are for wild shape and took them to where we play D&D currently. But yeah, this is the mass amounts of just normal animals. I mean, you can see sharks and octopus and killer whales and squids, giant sloths. So yeah, really cool. I love the variety of animals and stuff they have now. I even have the giant constrictor snakes and double-headed snakes. So yeah, there's a lot going on down there. Hyenas, so even little reef sharks. So depending on what you want to do, I basically at this point have all of the different animals for it. Then we'll just hit this bottom shelf over here, which is below where I record currently. It just has my ice salamanders and my, oh, my brain's not working, but my Remoraz as well. They're also about to come out with a new Remoraz that is a solo miniature that you can buy from WizKids. Looks really cool. I'm kind of excited to see it. And I'm always excited to see new miniatures coming out, especially ones like Remoraz where they don't have a lot of them. So, but next shelf up here, we have basically the same thing. It's animals, but it's more of the weird variety of animals where we have drakes and flail snails and bone snails, the scorpions that are fire scorpions, all the just different little creatures such as these. These are the digesters and like the baby hippogriffs and just, I mean, plesiosaurs. All my dinosaurs are over here too. You can see the T-Rexes, the Quetzals, all the different, the Stegos, even my wonderful lightning boar. This is probably one of my favorites on this shelf. Yeah, this is the Thunder Boar. Yeah, really like that one. It's a cool miniature there. And then all my mutated leopards and my bullets, things like that. Basically anything that's not quite an animal, but still is. Like my axe beaks. This is also one of my favorites here. This is the Talaxolotl, which is basically a fire axolotl. Very cool miniature. Yeah, when this one came out, I was extremely excited and had to pick it up. So would always highly recommend cool things like this. It's always something fun you can see on the table when your players aren't expecting anything just weird and out of place. So, all right, next shelf here. These are all my trolls over here on the left. You can see I have my cave trolls here, then normal trolls, venom troll, and then some ice trolls back here, and then my mutated trolls, and then you have your Ettins up here in the front. Well, all the way back, actually. These 4 are your Ettins. And then you have your forest giants, and basically all my different cyclopses and giants and all my normal giants that aren't just, you know, stone, hill, fire, and ice. So all my different giants there. And then you move over here to larger style fish people, such as the Djinns and the Marids. So just very cool there. And then in the back here, we just have all the, again, the weird style of giants where you're looking at the cloud giants, you're looking at, and then this was a couple of the god sets basically, where you have all the very nice, these sculpts, by the way, and paint jobs are absolutely gorgeous. So if you don't have them, you should pick them up. And then on this shelf, probably one of my favorites here is the, give me 1 second, I apologize, there we go. This is the Death Giant Necromancer, and this miniature is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is something to really scare your players into submission, basically. It is just so cool. But, all right, now on to all my normal giants. So over here, we have my fire giants, and then all my hill giants, stone giants there, and then we move over to all of my frost giants. So I basically have one of every frost giant that's out, plus some of the repaints. You can see in the back here where there's some of the repaints. So basically have every single ice giant that they currently have out, except some of the unpainted ones. I have them, just haven't gotten around to painting them. So then we move up to some of the bigger stuff. Like this is the full-sized Astral Dreadnought. And again, I mean, this thing is huge. And that's not even really the whole thing. The tail is actually taken off of it currently because it wouldn't fit on the shelf otherwise. So this is just an absolutely ginormous miniature, and it is gorgeous. I love it. Then over here, man, these just always get better and better every time I see them, I swear. But Neolithid, I believe, is what they're called. Another giant miniature. That would be another really fun one to use against your players. Then this is one of the mammoths that one of the ice giants actually you can pull it in half and put it on top to where it's riding the mammoth, which is a little crazy. Those were a little large in my opinion because that's a huge mammoth compared to some of the other mammoths I have. It's extremely large, so a little big there. And then I just have some wyverns and my Ember Rock from Critical Role. So that's a really cool one as well, I like. But I think my favorite on this shelf is probably my Astral Dreadnought. So, on to the next one here. This is Abominations and Undead, the larger sets of Undead. So this has some really creepy crawlies. My repainted version of the Undead T-Rex, the Bone Rock, and just a couple other just normal skeletal giants. And then I just did a review on this recently. This is one of the mummies. And then my undead carriage that glows in the dark. And yeah, and then all these fleshy abomination style things. And of course you have your elder brain there in the back as well. So all really cool ones there. Again, I have a lot of them at this point, so it's difficult to show them all. I would like to go through more, but I apologize, I'm moving the table back. So, okay, and then we will go up to this top shelf up here. This is all my, basically, creatures that were too large to go anywhere else. In the center here, we have our 3 Hydras. I painted the center one and built the base and everything on it. And then the pre-painted Hydra and another pre-painted Hydra there. I like the variety, having ones that are underwater, and then also having ones that are for up on land. And then we have one of our dragon abominations. And Dragonelle, I believe, there. So I have a green Dragonelle there, and a red Dragonelle up here that has a rider. And the rider actually comes off and can be put on a separate base. And then one of the Pathfinder creatures, this just big dragon-style creature with a dripping acid axe. Pretty cool there. And then I have my Jabberwocks over here. So, really, really cool miniatures. I think my favorite on this shelf is probably this Jabberwock. I absolutely love it. And then, moving on down, we move over to... These are my Froghemoths and my Crocodiles. And this is the Froghemoth I painted, which is the Mudgullet, and then the new pre-painted one that's out, and some of the older pre-painted ones. So, really enjoy those. And then I have all of my different types of tree folks. So, you have your treants here, your shambling mounds, and all your, twig blights, needle blights, stuff like that. And then some of these just weird, just basically creatures that are covered in moss and plants and things like that I really like, and your sod hounds up front. So lots of different things there. All right, and then after that we have same style of things, but some of these really cool, like this one is the Treant Noble. Really, really cool little, basically just a different style of Treant that you never see. Very cool looking though. Really like this one. And then we have basically the Fungal Queen and all your different just plants and spores and even your little pumpkin style people and your myconoids. Basically anything that is plant based I keep in this area. Down here, this is honestly just basically my favorites shelf. This has all of my beholders. I painted the one in the middle here, and then the other 3 are the collector's ones. And all the beholder / eye style people. Well, I guess not people, but basically all the eye style stuff. And then I have my time dragon and the time dragon wormling up here in the front. And obviously, if you haven't watched, I absolutely love these deep dragons. I think they're absolutely amazing and super, super cool. And then we have, obviously, right between where I normally record is the 50th anniversary D&D dragon that's actually in the symbol for D&D. And I really thought that was just a really cool addition to have right in the center of my recording. So, and then moving on back here, this is probably my most expensive miniature that I have because it was exclusive to one of the collector's edition sets, and it was the only way to get it. So I'm not sure what they're going for these days, but I absolutely love this dragon. It is the coolest looking dragon out there, for sure. And just so I can give you guys a name on it, it is the Hollow Dragon. So, yeah, very, very cool miniature there. And then up here, we have the Elderbrain Dragon. Pretty sure is what it is. Yeah. Elderbrain Dragon, again, really cool one. And then we have the Moonstone Dragon and the Young and Wormlings up in the front there, along with my worms. So I have my Frost Worm from Pathfinder, my Giant Purple Worm, and then in the back here we have the, I believe it's the Gravedigger or something weird like that. That is just another absolutely enormous white worm. So very cool there. And then these are actually the purple worm eggs. So kind of could be a really cool encounter to use the eggs as terrain and be trying to maybe steal or get rid of the eggs before they hatch and tear down a city or whatever you want to do with them. Those are just a really cool, fun little miniature to have sitting around. So, all right. Then we go down to all my mimics. So these are all just different kinds of mimic. The rug mimic, cake mimic, the doors, the barrels, the wash tub, tables, chests, even the outhouse mimic that the door actually opens on. And there's a mimic inside of it. And same with the cabinet. The door actually opens on the cabinet here. And there's a mimic inside of that as well, as you can see. So, really a couple of cool mimics there. And then my roper's over on the left, and the horde mimic all the way in the back there, as you can see. And then next to them, we have all of my elementals. So, water elementals here. I also have my methods in this area. And then all my air elementals, my earth elementals and golems. And then all my fire elementals. And over to the right of them, we've got all of my oozes. So like the dragon blood ooze, the oblex, the yellow, I forget what these are. These are, ochre jellies. Even my little, this is the bag jellies. Just basically anything that's considered an ooze, a jelly. In the back here, we have the much larger ones, obviously. This is I believe it's the actual Lord, this is Jublex, Demon Lord of Slime and Ooze. So, there's just all sorts of different styles and types. And then we will move down to my spiders and underdark area. So we will start over here. You can just see basically all like the different underdark style creatures, all the basically anything that follows Loth, and like the ettercaps, and then we have all my spiders. Most of these spiders were painted by me. We have a couple obviously that aren't, and then we have the Loth miniature in the background there. And I forget what this one is here. This is Arista of the Endless Web. So she's a really cool one too, and she's got like all those little spider babies on her back. So really cool miniature there. And then a lot of, like I said, ones I painted in here, and this is probably my favorite that I've ever painted. This was called the Brood Mother for a long time. I don't know what they're calling it now, but I believe it's from Bestiary Games. I'd have to look that up again, or Beastarium, something like that. You can find them tagged on my Instagram for this post. But yeah, very, very cool miniature. And then these are all the minions for it up in the front here. And smaller ones. And then I have my swarms of spiders, my Black Widow, shield spider, cavern spiders, obviously another pre-painted one there in the back. And then moving over to the rest of it, I have the spider dragon, my hooked horrors, and then these are just some of the stuff that goes with the mind flayers. So I just kind of put it off to the side there. And then I have all of my giant snail saddles and giant snails for racing in the Feywild. And obviously, if you haven't seen the video, all of these saddles come off and you can use the snails on their own. But I really wanted to do snail racing, so I built them little hats along with little saddles for each one that miniatures actually clip onto. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out as well. All right, last shelf here. Well, last set of shelves. Down the bottom here, we have my eye drakes, my apparatus of Kowalsh, or something like that. I forget what the actual name is. All my spell effects. There's a pretty cool one down here. This was I built this to be a spike growth. And then it has little base style ones that go in the center of it as well. That was a fun little build. And over here, we've got all of my frog monsters and my Yeti in the back. And, all my wargs, and just basically this shelf was kind of everything else that I didn't really have a place for. So I got, my cockatrice up here in the front. I've got all just, the grells, these creepy, if I can get it to focus, there we go. Yeah, these creepy things that were from one of the sets. All just different hounds and basilisks, and then I have my giant ticks, all my beetles, my scarabs, all the different smaller style things like cave fishers, and then it moves back to rust monsters, onto the umber hulks, and I forget what these are, on kegs. And then the on-keg grubs there in the back. And this was a creature I built out of Warhammer 40k pieces. That was a pretty cool, fun little build that I did. And so yeah, basically all the different ones there. All right, up here we have my constructs over here on the left. Basically every construct you could imagine that is currently out, even the Pathfinder ones, and you have all of the Mondrons and any of those style things. And this is one I built again. It's kind of tucked in there, but another creepy crawly that I made along with a mech that a gnome actually controls. So that was another really fun little build and paint job I did there. All right, and we move over to basically my celestial style things. All there in the center. Most of those are from the, man, I forget what set it is, I apologize, but one of the more recent sets, we did do a review on it, so you can definitely find that on my channel. And moving over again, basically still celestials and or, god-style creatures like the two-headed great white shark that is a god that I believe it's the Yanti worship. And then I have my 3 hags back here in the back. This one that rides the giant lily pad. this one that rides the rocking horse, and the one in the back that rides the bird style apparatus or device. So, yep. Again, mostly just the celestials and constructs there. And then this shelf is my demons and devils and fiends. Every single one of these is some sort of devil, demon, or fiend. And there is a lot of them. I think there's another shelf that I really need to go through and reorganize and maybe start putting some of these smaller humanoid style ones in drawers just to help clear up some space here. But yeah, very cool. I really like a lot of these. I obviously think my favorite on this is probably Orcus, and the miniature itself is absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't have probably painted it any better, and the sculpt is just truly phenomenal. Either that or the new Hell Wasps. So, all right. Moving on up, all my big water creatures, and then two of the other very large ones that I have. So you obviously have the Kraken, and then some water serpents and water beasts. You have Ukatoa from Critical Role. Again, very cool miniature. I wish it was a little bit bigger, to be honest, for it being Ukatoa, but still an amazing miniature. And then you have the Dragon Turtle Wormling with the Dragon Turtle Dieter from Critical Role as well. And then some more just water style creatures. And this is another Critical Role figure. I really like it. It's just so cool. And obviously the big boy. You're not going to find any miniature that's a beast like this. It's absolutely insane. Except for maybe the Tiamat miniature. It is extremely large as well. But this thing is just sick. Yeah, I love the Terrask. We actually just fought one in our level 16 campaign, and it was a blast. So really, really enjoyed that. All right. And then we move up here. Again, this is a lot of just the areas that I didn't have room for anything else. We've got some more smaller sea-style creatures, like the swarms of Shahagan worm. I don't know if they're wormlings, but they're basically the babies. My giant crab people, my rhino people, all my different just creepy crawly style guys. And yeah, it is very packed up here. I would like to get some of these moved so we can actually see them, but I do basically know where everything is if I'm looking for it. It's just a matter of actually getting up here and trying to get it down, obviously. So, yeah, very, very packed in shelf on this one, unfortunately. But, yeah, my cloakers back there in the back, my giant bats, just all sorts of crazy, creepy crawlers, and, like, the weird ones, like, from Critical Role, the Aoran creatures. So, I basically put everything up here that, again, didn't really have its own spot yet until I get probably some more shelves, to be honest. But yeah, very cool. Yeah, my gray renders, I think that's what they are, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, those ones I painted myself as well. And the gem stalkers back there in the back. And my Yagus. Yeah, just, again, a lot of different miniatures. It's almost hard to go through all of them just because of how many there is between all the different shelves. So, and yeah, there is just, as you can see, there is just an absolute lot of them. So we will probably end up reorganizing this to where everything's a little bit more accessible, and I might do this again in the future. But for right now, that is all on these shelves. So as you can see, there is just an absolute lot of miniatures back here. So it is a little bit hard to do a collection tour. I do need to go through and actually reorganize some. That would help a lot. I'm thinking about actually building shelves in a sense, not more like steps to where all of them are easily viewed. So there is just a lot going on here right now. I just reorganized them all a couple months ago, and I'm going to have to do it again already. And there is a lot more miniatures when it comes to terrain and dragons, but I did want to wait on that due to the dragon shelf still being sitting in my garage. I'm waiting for the stain to dry to where I can move it down. And so I'll probably next week, if you guys are interested, do all of my terrain and do all of the dragons once they're on their shelves. Should have that done by next week. So just let me know down in the comments. If I did miss anything that you guys are really interested in seeing, let me know. I can at least make a short of it for you. And yeah, that is my miniature collection though. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you did, please do like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.